Hello, everybody. Hi, Max. Hi, Max. Oh, there it was. Hello, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today on this steamy summer night. I'm so glad you guys are here, and I hope that you're ready for a little more exploration as we work through part 2 of our 2-part mobility series. So you may have found last time in our hip mobility series that it's a little deceiving. You know, you think, oh, mobility series, circuit class, that'll probably be cool. It was difficult. My legs are still sore from the hip mobility series, so it is definitely not a cakewalk. It is not a walk in the park, but it is great work, and it's a great way to explore mobility and the most complicated joints of our body, the hips and the shoulders. So before I get too far into it, let's go through real quick the recommended equipment for today's workout. But know that you can make this as explorative, as lightweight, mobility focused. I'm not going to say not much effort, because that's not true. But you can make this, you can really dial in the intensity on this one, okay? So the equipment I'm going to tell you about is totally up to you. So I would recommend a pair of light weights and a pair of medium weights. And really, again, that's up to you. So you can do light for the whole thing, you can do light and medium, or you can just kind of abort out of the whole weight situation and completely if you don't want to focus on strength building too much and really just focus on the exploration part. You're going to need a long resistance band. Hi, Rizzo. So what does that mean? A couple different options. So you might have something like this, long, big loop resistance band. If you have something like this, chances are you may or may not have one this thin. You do need one that's not going to be super challenging. So there's also, others that look more like this. These are going to be way too challenging, okay? Way too challenging. So you want something, if you have a big loop band like this, perfect. Or you can use what you're more likely to probably have is a band that has the handles on the end. You can use this too for what we're going to do. So these will work perfect. Either one, great option. If you don't have either one, no worries. We can use really light weights, or we can just use body resistance. No big deal at all. You're also going to need, and this is completely optional, I will not be using it at all, a stability ball or a bench. That is an option as well. The stability ball you would just be using like a bench, or if you have a bench, use a bench like a bench. But I will be using either, but I just wanted to throw that out there as an option, especially because we're focusing on mobility. So having some room to spread out on top of a bench or stability ball would be good. I might play around with it, but I don't know that I'm going to have the room for it, and that's okay. It's no big deal. And then last is your yoga mat and floor support, whatever makes you comfy, cozy in the floor. So that's what we need today. No worries again, if you have none of the equipment, you will still get by just fine. So real quick, we've already kind of covered what we're working on. So in the mobility series, we are doing exercises that are not necessarily intense as far as heavy weights. We are doing exercises that really focus on exploring and evaluating the mobility, the flexibility, the pliability, and honestly, especially in shoulders, just the downright movability of our joints and our muscles that live around those joints. So it's not just about the joint function, it's also about the muscles that surround that joint and build that structure. So we're going to do some exercises that both challenge us as far as exercise go, but also challenge us as far as mobility, flexibility, and pliability goes. So like last time, I asked you to be curious but non-judgmental about what is happening in your body. Really listen to me, especially shoulders. Shoulders have a lot more movements. Your shoulder blades move in all sorts of different ways. So really listen to me when I'm telling you, here's what you should feel. Here's where your shoulder blades should be going. So you can really evaluate if that's happening or not. We have a lot of issues in our shoulders that make that not happen. And when our shoulders don't move like they should, then we don't get the results that we want out of those heavy lifts. So that's what we are exploring today. Curious, but non-judgmental about how your body is moving. So real quick, we're moving in a circuit style, just like we have many, many times before. 1 minute on, 20 seconds off, 8 exercises, and then long rest at the end. We do it all over again. If you're a beginner, if you're new, if your shoulders are not mobile at all and these exercises are killing you, shorten the set. So you could do 30 seconds on, 20 seconds off. You could do 4 exercises and not 8. Anything like that. Take 2 rounds on, 2 rounds off. Whatever works for you to help you get through this workout. That's pretty much got us covered. So modify things as you need it, but really the purpose of this is to not have to modify. These exercises should be very within reach for most of us. But again, shoulders are finicky and crazy, so if you do need to modify, please do. And the last couple things I always ask, please like, share, subscribe, follow, favorite, all those things that get people paying attention to us on social media. It's so important to get the word out, and that's the best way that we can do it. Lastly, if you wish to donate any funds for these classes, Venmo at Strong Style Fit. Fit is where you'll find me. You'll see this logo, you'll know it's me, and any donations you can send are greatly appreciated. It is the only payment I receive for these classes, and I don't know where you would find series like this for free from a certified personal trainer that you can count on. So I hope you'll consider that as you work through these videos. So guys, I'm going to take a super quick break. I know I've talked a lot. I'm going to check the video, make sure we're running. I'm going to let Miss Rizzo inside from the heat, even though you're doing fabulous. So I'll be right back. Enjoy another view of more of the flowers from the Saunier household and indoor and outdoor part of our household. And I'll be right back, guys. Hi guys. All right, looks like we're really good. I've got one comment about some self-defense. I think I've responded to you a couple times, but just to be certain, in case you're still watching, I'm not certified to teach self-defense classes. I do think that it is a great idea, and if I ever come across someone who is doing it, I'll be sure to share it with you, but I am not someone who's certified to teach those kind of classes. And I would be a liability if I were to teach something like that and then someone get injured or not be able to defend themselves, and that is not a responsibility that I want to have on my hands. So I do think it's a great idea, and I welcome suggestions and I appreciate your thoughts, but not something that I can do on Strong Style Fitness. All right guys, so we're going to get started. I have got the timer here ready to rock and roll. So the first thing we're going to start with is trunk rotations. So we're going to be down on the floor, tabletop position, and I will show you where we're going when we get there. This is going to be a really good warm-up. Our first 2 exercises are warm-ups that are really going to, one, test our shoulder mobility, and also get us warmed up for a little more intense exercise. All right, hands and knees, let's do it. So we're in tabletop position here, guys. Knees under our shoulders. Oh, no, not there. Knees under our hips. Hands under our shoulders. We're going to reach up, but try not to rotate your hips. So keep your hips down. Rotate up. Thread through. Stretch the back of that shoulder. Rotate back up. Set it down. Other side. Rotate up. Thread it through. Rotate up. Set it down. So we're trying to keep those hips facing the floor. Try not to open up. It's tough. I'm not saying I'm doing it perfect either. For sure. It is a work in progress. So here, not only are we working shoulder mobility, we are also working thoracic spine. Woo! Beautiful. Come on up. We're going to grab light weights here. And I mean very light weights. So I'm grabbing the lightest that I have, which are 5s, but whatever light is for you. And we're going to do around the world. So we've done these once or twice before. Open up that chest. We got the weights out to the side. We circle up and then circle it back down. So keep those shoulders down low, away from the ears. Your shoulders shouldn't be coming up or down, so not here and then dropping it down. Shoulders in one place. Our arms are moving, rotating through that shoulder socket. And from here, guys, just so you know where we're going next, we're going to grab that band that we talked about at the beginning of class. It's the only place we're going to use the band. Slow and controlled here, guys. If you can't move slow and controlled, the weight's too heavy. Perfect. All right, guys, little break. We're going to do those band pull-aparts. So we're going to grab our band. We have a couple different options for grip here. I'm going to tell you what I'd like to see, but for some of us it might be a little much. So you're going to grab at the end of your band if you have a loop here, or if you have one long straight band, it'll look the same. You're going to grab at the end, grip, open palm, thumbs facing away, and then we're opening up by wrapping those shoulder blades around the back. I should have wore a eraser back so you could see a little better. But your shoulder blades, you should feel open, 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 kind of exposing the back of your heart, and then wrapping around and closing around it. So shoulder blades open, expose, shoulder blades close, and kiss one another in the back. If having your thumbs turned out is too much, you can flip your grip and be this direction. It's just, I'm going to say easier. I like, this is kind of a double rotation. Perfect. So when you have your hands like this and you open back, it's a little more intense rotation in the shoulder versus being here and opening up. But having the thumbs back could be way too challenging for some of us. So this grip is also okay. This grip preferred, okay? All right, from here we're doing Arnold. So now we're kicking up the intensity quite a bit. So Arnold's, we're working a lot in the shoulder here. So we're pushing up and then bring it down, wrap it forward, open again. So we're hitting the shoulder in a lot of key places here. This is definitely a much more strength-building move than the previous three. The three were warm-ups, three were mobility. Now we're getting into strength, but still assessing mobility. Do you have, when you push overhead, are there a bunch of clicks and clumps? Do you feel like your lat muscle down underneath here isn't quite responding right? Rolling or clunking versus smoothly moving? Some things to think about. Come on down to the floor. We're going to do a chest fly. And in fact, all of our last exercises will be in the floor. So once you're here, you are here. So this is a place that you can use your bench or your ball. Highly recommend it. I might try to finagle it in here. Let's see. Let's see. You don't know till you try, right? Woo! All right, chest fly. We are up. I'm not positioned perfectly, but I'm going to deal with it. So we're up on our ball or a bench, or we're on the floor. Bear hug arms. We open and then we close. So this is a big opener for the front of those shoulders and for that chest. Keeping that bend in the arms. And guys, I'm not the perfect specimen on the ball right now. My head is too far off, so if you haven't got on the ball before, please don't mimic me. I will do a little better on this for the second round. Beautiful. Bring those weights down. If you have a ball or a bench, you can come off of them and get them out of your way if that's an issue. We're coming to plank to down dog. So, plank to down dog is a very yoga move, and boy oh boy, does it test your mobility. So, we're going to step into plank. Put our hands wide, shoulders engaged, pushing that floor away, long neck. We drive up through our hands, hips come high, 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 reach for the sky, while our ankles are pulling down, and then we pull ourselves back forward. Push ourselves back up. So you should feel a whole lot of movement in that shoulder, that whole girdle of the shoulder. You're rotating through to the front and then rolling it back. You want to imagine here that you're trying to pull your armpits in towards your chest. You see how I'm not flared out? I'm pulling my armpits in towards my chest and then rolling forward into it. Woo! I did a little extra one. All right, guys, so we're going to do a kneeling or sitting lat pull down. Lightweight's optional here, but please keep them very light. So you can sit flat on your booty, or you can sit kneeling. When you sit, you're going to tuck that tail, nice long spine. We tend to let our booty round back. Nice long spine. We lift up, and we pull back. And as we pull back, so we're going from a wide, wide, elbows down to our pockets, and then up. I want you to focus on keeping your tail neutral and arching your back from the mid-back as you pull down. A lot of pieces to this, guys. So it'll feel really good probably the first few times to let your booty kind of flare up behind you, but I want you to keep that tail neutral and really focus on just bending through that upper and mid-back. Perfect. All right, guys, last one, V-sit archer. So I'm going to come back during our break and cover a couple of the more, not advanced moves, but the more involved, the ones I want to coach a little more. I'll use the break to talk a little bit about more. So sort of like the lat pull down we just did. So V-sit archer, we've got a couple options for V-sit. We sit here, pull our chest up tall on a string, and then we sit back until we feel that core kick in. Once that core kicks in, we reach out, plug our shoulders back, and then we squeeze through the back of those shoulders. Squeeze. So as we squeeze back, we're getting this awesome opening through our chest while we're engaging and squeezing that muscle in the back of our shoulder. You can also up the game here in your V-sit by picking your feet up. But I hesitate on that because for most of us, a full V-sit is really challenging. And we're going to focus on just trying to survive the V-sit and not actually get the shoulder work that I want. Thank you, Rizzo. All right, guys, so a couple things real quick during our break. We got a minute and 20 seconds left. So the trunk rotations, I think we kind of got those. So we're going to be working, again, to keep our hips square and just rotating through the upper body. Again, this is evaluating mobility through shoulder, also through mid-back. Around the world, I think we got, big pull aparts, I think we got, Arnold's chest fly, plank to down dog. I'll come back to you. The lying lat pull downs I really want to get for you. About 50 seconds. So we're sitting here. So a lot of times when we sit, whether it's on our heels, on our knees like this, or on the floor, we tend to let our butt kind of rock out behind us. So I want you to tuck that in. Really sit with a long spine. we reach out, keeping that long spine. We pull and we arch just through this part of our back. So our tail is still neutral, we're just bending through here. If we don't do that, then we're gonna get this like cat-cow back. So when we do cat-cow, we arch everything. And see how different that looks versus here. So that's what I want you to focus on. Neutral tail, bend through the thoracic spine. Plank to down dog. I'm going to give us a little bit longer break on this one. Plank to down dog. When we come up into our down dog, really think about rotating those armpits kind of forward. You're not actually going to really rotate your armpits forward, but it changes the positioning of your shoulder blades versus being here and then letting yourself stay wide. You're kind of collapsing into your shoulder awkwardly versus being wrapped in and tight. Okay? All right, guys, so I'll keep coaching, but those were just a couple things I wanted to cover that I just didn't feel like I had time to cover. So I'm going to grab another quick drink of water. I'm going to check on the video real quick, and then we'll get going for rounds 2, 3, and 4. Oh, and we got a little coach here. Our little Coach Rue. She's here to fire you up. Her shoulder mobility is excellent. She highly recommends walking on all fours to build your core and shoulder strength. All right, guys, quick check on the video, and we'll get going again. All right, guys, so back to it. I'm going to hit start, and we're going to be right back to it. So we got those trunk rotations, hands and knees. All right, hands and knees, nice and strong foundation, wide fingers, everything in alignment. We open, wrap under, feel that stretch across the back of that right shoulder blade. Open and down. Open, stretch, open, down. So this is another one. As we go through each round, you will hopefully find that you're able to open more and more as we go. And I want you to focus on both the open and the close equally. So don't just focus on how high can I open, focus on the close as well. Open, close, open. Set it down. All right, we've got those around the world, so that's going to be the super lightweight or no weight, your option. Woo, and don't drop a 5-pound weight on your bare feet, Tracy. All right. Wrap it around. Bring it back down. So everything is stationary here except for your arms. So just think of it that way. My body is quiet. My arms alone are doing the work. Now that's not true. It's actually your shoulders that's doing all the work, but we're working our shoulders by moving our arms. And I kind of have a, so you guys know what I'm working with, I've got kind of a different issue on each side. You know, I've told you guys many times about the nagging front of my right shoulder, which actually has gotten a little better recently, but the left lat for me down in here doesn't move right at all. It clumps, it chunks, it feels like it's going over speed bumps. It's the weirdest thing. And it's like one of the only kind of injuries I've had that I'm like, I don't know what to do about this. I had my chiropractor evaluate it to make sure my bones were in the right spot. It's such a weird thing. All right, guys, so if you're pretty mobile, flip those hands, thumbs face away. Less mobile, we're here. There's no right or wrong. Only thing that's wrong is if it hurts. It should feel challenging. It shouldn't hurt. So what I want you to experience here is the sensation of your shoulder blades wrapping around. They're giving you a hug from the back. Like they can literally fold around you and fold forward. Fold, like they're rotating around your trunk. So imagine your trunk as an actual like tree trunk and your shoulder blades are wrapping around them. If you're warmer and you want to make this more of a challenge, just choke up on your band a little more, and that's going to provide more resistance. Good. All right, guys, so we are to the more worky part of our set, so we're going to those Arnolds. Again, this is kind of a medium weight exercise, but if you're taking it easy, focusing more on evaluation, go light. Like for me, I'm going medium, so my brain's kind of telling me I should go light. We'll see how I feel this round. So we're going up, down, around, up, down, around. Feel much better this round. Up, down, wrap it around. So again, you notice when I come up, down, or forward, my shoulders are creeping no closer to my ears than they are in any position. They're always down in neutral. Again, it's my arms, it's my shoulder blades. I am not lifting my shoulders up by my head. They're down. Arnolds get me every time. All right, so we're going down to the chest fly. I don't think I'm going to worry. I don't know. I kind of want to use the ball because it really does help. So the reason why I like the ball or the bench for this particular exercise is it really is going to allow us to open up through that shoulder, which is kind of the point of what we're working on today. But you're welcome to stay on the floor and work to the floor. What you lose by using the floor is if you see here, so I've got my hands in this little bear hug, pushing my hips up. I keep the bear hug, the little bend in the arms, and I open my chest and then squeeze. So what you lose on the floor is just the ability to go a little bit beyond your body when you open up. If you're on the floor, you're limited by the floor. You can't drop beyond the floor. When you're up on a ball or on a bench, you can go beyond your body. Again, that's really focusing on the mobility of the shoulders, and also a huge component is the flexibility in your chest muscles. I'll talk a little bit more about that during break. We'll talk about chest muscles and how they come into play with shoulder mobility. Because that's a big one. Any of my personal training clients know I will harp on that. All right, guys, plank to down dog. So remember what we talked about. We have that nice wide base. Heart shines forward. Drive your hips up. Rotate. Like you're trying to drive your armpits in toward your chest. And then push back through. Push yourself tall. That might be hard to get that rotation. For me, it takes me a couple times or a few minutes. By a few, I mean like 15 minutes into a class before I can really get my shoulder blades to go where I want them in down dog. Perfect. Come on down. So I hope that felt better. It's one of those, a lot of it just takes practice. Like you're down dog, honing it in just right. It takes a lot of practice, guys. And so I don't want you to be deceived. You know, I do yoga every day. All right. tail in neutral if we're on our knees or sitting on the floor. Tail in neutral. We make a V. We pull and extend. Shine that chest up. Whatever level of back bend feels good, but again, we're just back bending through the upper part of our spine. Our tail is staying neutral. We're not tilting our low back back. It is keeping firm and steady on the floor. So guys, resist. Pull, pull, squeeze those shoulder blades tight. Let it go. You honestly shouldn't even need weights for this. You should be able to squeeze, squeeze, squeeze hard enough that you can replicate any amount of resistance. Beautiful. All right, come on down to our seat if you're not on your seat already. And we've got those V-sit archers. So again, V-sit, we're either here or in full V-sit if you're very strong and confident in your V-sit. Otherwise, we're here. Put your hands behind your knees. Lift your chest like it's on a string, and then sit back. Arms extend, plug them back, pull. And again, you are choosing your own adventure here. How hard can you resist? Pull. Imagine you've got a band hooked around a door, and you can pull it as hard as possible. Keeping those shoulders plugged back. We're not reaching forward. Plug back. Squeeze. Squeeze. We're also getting some action through our spine, continuing with that idea, that rotation through our spine. While our hips are neutral, we're rotating through that spine. All right, guys, that's our break. So just real quickly, why there's also a good bit of chest work in this exercise series, or this class, that's talking about shoulder mobility. Chest muscles are here. How do most of us sit all day? Here. I'm going to give you the quick and dirty. Most of us sit here on a computer or here on a phone, on a tablet, whatever it is, we're here. These chest muscles get tight because they're like this all the time. So their natural state becomes this really tight, contracted situation. So then when you try to move your shoulders, say to work out, I'm not faking. Like if I hold my chest contracted in and then try to open, that's as far as I can go. So if I try to do a reverse fly and I'm all contracted here, I can't go any further. If I let it go, and I wasn't faking that for the sake of the example, that's really the truth. So we have to work on opening our chest so our shoulders can move freely. That's the connection. All right, I talked again through all my break. I'm just going to take a quick drink, check the video, and we'll get right back to it. Thank you for humoring me through all this education, guys. I just really want you to understand why we're doing some of the things we're doing today. Because you might be like, I thought you said chest or shoulders. I'm doing all this chest work. I'm doing all this spine work. It all goes together. All right, tabletop, trunk rotation. Just through the trunk. Reach under. Open and down. Down. So evaluate. We're in 3 rounds now. How does this feel now versus the first time we did it? Do you feel a little more open? Does it feel like your hips are kind of letting you open a little easier? Does it feel like your spine, your trunk is a little more flexible, a little more pliable? come on up around the world. So guys, again, name of the game, light weights here, or no weights at all. Again, your own adventure. But if the weights make it so hard that you can't control what you're doing, or that you can't look at this kind of self-evaluation, because you're working so hard you can't even evaluate, you're just trying to get through it, then lighten the weights, or take the weights off completely. I want you to get a lot of good work. I'm sweating for sure, but I also want you to be able to get that evaluation, that non-judgmental curiosity about what's happening in your shoulders, in your chest, and your spine. I guarantee you, if you're really working on these squeezes, these engagements, this kind of self-resistance idea, if you're really working on it, I guarantee you'll be sore tomorrow. Even if you're someone who normally does 20-pound weight shoulder exercises, if you're really focusing on these squeezes, these openings, you're going to feel it. All right, so remember we've got two choices for grip, here or flipped. And if the band you have isn't quite challenging enough, just choke up on it, make it a little shorter, you get plenty of resistance. All right, so again, we're opening, closing. Shoulder blades come wide, squeeze to the back, shoulder blades wide open in the back. So squeeze them to the back like they're kissing one another. Open them up like you couldn't possibly get them further away from one another. Give a little pause and bring it back. Little pause. Little pause. Woo! Yeah, like those. I can already tell you my shoulders are going to be sore tomorrow back there. All right, we've got those Arnolds. So this is your possibly medium weight. Again, this is the more efforting piece of the workout, the next series of exercises. Right. Up, down. You might also notice, like me, I say I have this chronic right thing in my right shoulder. You might notice as we've done all these opening exercises, all these engagement exercises, that maybe when you start to do the Arnold, if that's something that's problematic for you, maybe you don't feel it. Maybe we've got you opened up enough and warmed up enough that some of those little nags are gone. So that's something to evaluate too. Like first round of these Arnolds, my right little shoulder pinch over here, I was like, whoa, it is bad and it is angry. And I was really kind of, whew, I don't feel it now. So sometimes it's just a matter of getting yourself warm, getting those muscles opened, stretched, and then getting to work. That's why we should warm up before exercise. We should stretch before exercise. Whew. All right, set those down. We got chest fly. Trying to get my little ball back into the picture here. I'm having so much fun having these plants around. It's so good. Just good for the spirit, right? To have some natural stuff around. All right. So we open up. Got those little micro, more than micro bend, little bear hug arms. We open, 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 squeeze those shoulder blades to the back, and then squeeze those chest muscles to the front. Open, open, open. Squeeze it to the front. So opening up, those most likely way too tight chest muscles, and then we're squeezing them back together. So we are working our chest. This is a chest exercise, but it's part stretch as well. We get a nice stretch here, and then we close it back up. If you're on the ball, make sure you're driving those hips up, squeezing that booty. Whew. All right. We are in the floor. All right, we've got our plank to down dog from here. Hands nice and wide, fingers, I should say fingers nice and wide, hands underneath our shoulders. Shine our heart forward, drive hips up to the sky while we drive our ankles, our heels down to the floor. Shine that heart forward, heels to the floor, hips to the sky. And guys, if you just can't seem to get that sensation of wrapping those armpits in, then I encourage you, stay in down dog and really play with it. Talk to those shoulders, see where you can put them. Sometimes you need to change your hand placement just a little bit. Like I would say, this was the first round where I felt like most of the round, my shoulders were going where they need to be. So like I said, it's a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of getting your shoulder mobility working. There's a lot to it, for sure. And sometimes a little bit of hand placement too. I've heard yogis say to turn your index fingers a little more towards the center of the room versus your middle fingers. So, and I've heard that from professionals, people far more professional in yoga than me. Good, so tail is in neutral, tailbone stays down to the floor. We open into a big Y, pull our elbows to our trunk, shine our heart up, back. So just make sure, guys, as you're doing that little back bend, you're keeping your head in neutral. So don't pull a back bend and then drop your head back. No, no, no. We keep our head in alignment with our spine. Squeeze it so hard, like you could squash your elbows right through your rib cage. That's what you're looking for. All right, V-sit with those pullbacks. Whew. So yeah, those kneeling lat pulls, that's very much like the lying lat pull that we do. I just took the lying part out of it because I didn't want us to get distracted by our lower body, sort of like this, where we're letting our lower body work, but not intensely, because I wanted to focus on the upper body. And again, our shoulders plug back, and then we squeeze. Imagine you've got a band that's hooked onto something solid, and you're pulling as hard as you can, trying to break whatever it's on. Again, we're rotating through that trunk, which is so good for the spine. Flexibility, pliability. If we're not flexible, if we're not pliable, what's the opposite of that? Brittle, right? I think of something brittle. Something brittle, you can't move it, you can't flex it, you bend it, it breaks. And that's what we don't want, guys. We don't want to break. So the more flexible, pliable we can be, the better. And I don't mean flexible like I should be able to wrap my head around my leg around my head. I just mean being able to move easily through life. If something falls on the floor, you should be able to grab it. You know, those kind of functional types of flexibility, pliability. All right, I'm gonna actually take the break this time. We've got 1 minute. I think we've kind of worked through all the exercises. So this is our last round. So just like when we did the hip mobility, I want you to think of positive change. So if you've been negative the whole class, oh, my shoulders don't work right, I can feel it. Oh, I can't reach up, I just know it's terrible. Shut that off. And I want you to now think about, in round 4, you should be open, you should be warm, you should be moving at about your best potential right now, unless you're just having a bad day or you've got an injury. So now I want you to, pause again, just to be sure, I want you to think about round 1 and then how you feel in round 4. And I want you to, for each exercise, think about one positive difference from round 1 to round 4. If it's not a physical difference, think of a positive difference, something you've learned. Why am I doing this? What is my goal with this? If you can't come up with something physical, think about something you've learned, because that's a positive too. It's true, knowing is half the battle. Understanding how your body works lets you evaluate your body better, make it work better for you, if you understand what it should be doing. All right, I'm gonna pop around super quick. We're gonna get to it. I've got 9 seconds left on the break on our timer. I'm gonna hit start when I get back. All right, guys. Got 9 seconds on the timer. Let's come on down, get ready for our trunk rotations here. Nice wide starfish hands. Hands under wrists, knees under hips. Remember, what's the positive? And I'll tell you my positive at the end of each round. Awesome, guys. So my positive in that round was that I'll tell you, those trunk rotations are a really tough one for me. I have a lot of things in my body, such as the scoliosis, that just make those really challenging for me and usually pretty uncomfortable. And I will say by round 4, especially to the right, I really felt like I could open up. And not just open up with the thought of, oh dear God, please just let me be able to wrap this back under. Because the wrap under feels so good. So I actually felt like I could open and enjoy at least a moment of the open. So that is my positive. So no, we all have certain stretches, right, or movements that we're just like, oh dear God, just get us through it. Get us through it. Either because it's challenging or because it works against a lot of the things that our body does naturally that it shouldn't. So anytime you can have that win of like a stretch or a movement like that, where you can find comfort and ease, it's huge. Good job, guys. So I will say on that particular exercise, that's one that really challenges this new thing that I have in this lat muscle here. Didn't feel it quite as much. It felt like it was loosening up a little bit. Also, no clunks or pops. There was lots of clunks and pops in the beginning. The whole movement kind of smoothed out. All right, band pull aparts. So maybe, if you've done the other grip, the quote-unquote easier grip in these band pull aparts for all the other rounds, maybe try flipping your grip to this grip. See if you can do it now that you're nice and warm and that you're open. wrapping around that trunk and then opening up. So it really is like you're closing around the back of your heart, and then you're opening up and letting your heart shine out of your back. Close it up. Protect your heart. Open it up and let it shine through. Whew. All right, guys, we are cruising. We have already got the first 3 done. So we've got Arnold. This is our last heavy-ish lift exercise. I guess this would be 1 of 2. Our chest fly is kind of a heavy-ish one too, depending on how you chest fly. All right, Arnold's. So my positive for the bands was that it felt just generally more doable. That first round, I was like, oof, this band's a little too hard, and I could tell I was kind of snapping into the exercise because that band was popping me in the chest pretty hard. It felt more in control of the movement, I'll say. So there's my positive. Think about yours. And this is more strength building, so you might have a very different positive in this. Might be, I feel stronger. Good, guys. So I would say my positive there is that first round, I wasn't sure I could do 10s. I was thinking I needed to drop those 10s down. It felt like too much. The last round, it felt perfect. Challenging, but doable. All right, chest fly. Up onto our ball or our bench if we're using it. Otherwise, we're on the floor. So we open and we close. I hope that that's my Rizzo that just ran in here from outside and got another dog. It is my Rizzo. Hi. I mean, I'd be okay with another dog too, but I'm really happy it's you. Hey, sweet girl. Sounds like you just went on a big walk. Good. So let those shoulders wrap back, chest shine open, and then squeeze it closed. So very much like those band pull-aparts. Let that heart shine forward now from the front, and then we close it off. Heart shine forward from the front. Close it off. Thank you, Rizzo. Open it up. Close it off. Good. Woo! We've got those plank to down dogs next. So I would say a positive takeaway from both the chest fly and the Arnold was that my little right angry pinch was not there. All right, into our plank. Shine that heart forward. Drive those hips to the sky. Heels down towards the floor. And then back. Drive, 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 drive. Wrap those armpits in. Come forward. Hips to the sky. Heels to the floor. Back forward. Woo. Good job, friends. It's a lot in these shoulders, a lot of work. You're doing amazing. Awesome. So I'll say my positive takeaway is that I did experiment a little bit with turning index fingers a little more forward, and it seemed to make a difference with helping get those shoulders activated how I wanted them. So I experimented, learned something new maybe. All right, last two, we've got those lying lat pull downs. Long tail, tail towards the floor, make a Y. Pull those elbows like you could make them meet behind you. Like you could go right through your ribs and touch them together. and out. And again, arching just through that mid-back, shine that chest up to the sky. Keeping that head in alignment, don't drop it back. And up. Chest up, up, up. Little bend through that thoracic spine. And up. Now guys, I hope it goes without saying, if you have back injury, fusions, things like that, I hope you've listened to your body and not done these back bends. Guys, we've got one left, and we are there. We are done. V-sit, archer. Come on down. Get yourself set up for success. Feel really strong. V-sit. String pulls your chest up. Set it back. Reach, and then plug them back. Squeeze. So we're doing that great activation behind the shoulder blades, while we're also getting that awesome rotation through the spine. Rotation is said to detoxify the organs. I am no doctor, but that is what I am told in my yoga classes. And I figure it can't hurt, right? Almost there, guys. Home stretch. Last exercise. Hi, sweet Rizzo. Boom! Ding, ding, ding! We did it, Rizzo! We did it! Right. Oh man, guys. Well, I'm certainly sweating. I know that has a lot to do with my environment today, but I think that was an awesome, awesome workout. It was the perfect mix of stretch, of evaluation level work, of hard work, of challenge. It was a lot to it. So just like Happy Hips, you kind of came in being like, oh, it's a mobility series, but then you realize just how much work goes into mobility too. So guys, I hope you really enjoyed this two-part series. If you haven't done Happy Hips, go back, it's on YouTube, and find it and do Happy Hips as well. It's very much the same, circuit style class, an equal amount of stretch, work, and you'll be sore. I imagine I'm going to be sore after this one. I was definitely sore after Happy Hips. So it's great work and great learning all at the same time. So I hope you enjoyed that two-part series. If there's anything else you want to learn about, let me know. It's one of my favorite things to do is to teach. So please let me know if there's anything else you'd like to do, another series you'd like to see. I would be happy to give that a shot. So as always, please, the last things I ask, like, share, subscribe, follow, retweet, repost, all of those things that get people paying attention to us on social media. And last, if you would like to donate any funds for these classes, Venmo at Strong Style Fit is where you'll find me. Any donations are greatly appreciated. And I thank you guys so much. I'll see you in a few days for another great workout. Take care. Mwah!